Welcome back to Nick Lenz's movie review, episode number 122. This one I'm viewing the fifth MCU film, Captain America: First Avenger. Before I talk about this particular, I want to talk about the two common misconceptions about Captain America. One, that he's a creation of Stan the Man Lee. This actually is not true at all. Stan Lee had nothing to do with the man's creation at all. The only thing he did create for him is the most iconic nemesis, the Red Skull, and he gave him his circular shield he's known for having. Aside from that, and create some other villains, that's it. Anything about the character himself, there was some stuff revealed about the story, but he didn't do the first issue at all. That was all Joe Simon and Jack the King Kirby. And he does make cameo in this movie. He does make cameo in the last movie as well. The last one was driving a truck and bring out Thor's hammer. This film, he plays a general who meets up, who sees Captain America, thought I was going to see him, but nope, doesn't see him at all. The other thing is mixed up about the title, The First Avenger. Yeah, here's kind of the thing about the revelation about that. Captain America, despite some people might say that he might be because of his long association with the Avengers, he is not a founding member of the Avengers. Nope. In the comics, this, of course, is the 616 version, not the Ultimate version, which is what the next series basically takes inspiration. This particular, now in the original comic book, the founding members were Ant-Man, Wasp, the Hulk, Thor, and Iron Man. Captain America was not part of this lineup at all. He joined in issue 4 as a replacement for the Hulk. Yes. So, aside from, there's one other misconception people have about Captain America, and this is a really stupid one. The fact that the other two are perfectly common misconceptions about him. The other one is a really dumb one. He's a poster boy for steroids. Yeah, the serum through his body is not freaking steroids. It's a serum created in a lab. Yes, this whole conception that Captain America, a guy who's basically the embodiment of the United States of America, in a way, is a poster boy for steroids. It's an absolute stupid assumption, and people should stop making it. Though it hasn't been made in years, but I think it's a very stupid thing. Now let's talk about the film itself. The film starts out in present day, where we have these people who work in Antarctic, I think it's like at the Antarctic, just driving through and finding something in the ice. They find a plane, and they cover something. They don't show what it is later. And it's like, okay, we gotta get the colonel. He's asleep. This is something you should wake him up for. Who the colonel is, I'll reveal that soon. And then we cut to 1942, which is kind of inaccurate than when he first became Captain America. Yeah, Captain America's first appearance was in December 1941, which is the same month of the Pearl Harbor attack. Yeah, that's when he first showed up in the comics. Which, by the way, he's around for, I think it's been officially now for almost 80 years. Yep. So, basically, the film, when it gets to the 1942, we have the Red Skull having encouraged Norway to retrieve something from a building. He touches a tree. Of course, there's references to Thor in this whole movie. Yep. And he touches something, pulls it out, and pulls out a box. What's inside this box? The Cosmic Cube, which made its first appearance here. Someone forgot to mention that. I wanted to save that revelation for here. Though they gave it a different name in the movie for some reason. Yes, they changed the name of the Cosmic Cube to the Tesseract. I have no idea why they do that for, but they do. And then he just sees it, touches it, doesn't do anything to him at all. Well, and he puts the thing back, goes and has his men kill people there. And then we cut to the United States, where Steve Rogers is trying to try out for the Army. And now, the version I've seen this film, now, they do have a slight change here. Yes, the version of I have has it where, now, in the theatrical release, when he's like decline or accept, basically it will say that. Here, it's a word phrasing. I'm not really sure why this was. Yes, decline because he couldn't reveal exactly where he's actually from. And he keeps trying out to become, well, a soldier, despite the fact he's actually, well, kind of small. Though this is not Chris Evans' size, From what I heard about this particular effect, this was basically somebody putting Chris Evans' head on someone else's body. Who this person is? Let's see. They don't say. I don't think it's like this. This is some special CGI. Oh yeah, and Bucky Barnes this movie, except he's like a year older than Cap, and he's taller than he is. Unlike in the comics, when he first became, well, Captain America's partner, he was a teenager, like around 12, 13 years old. My only guess is because they didn't want to have a teenager fighting alongside Captain America in the war, and plus he doesn't wear his iconic outfit in this film, though he does wear it in the next film. Well, it's Winter Soldier outfit. So, like his partner's already in the army, basically a sergeant. He tries to enlist second time, and then, well, apparently we see Abraham Erskine. This is actually his first appearance outside the comics. They did have a similar character in the Captain America 1990 movie. Now, interesting thing about the title of the movie. Why is it called The First Avenger? Well, Captain America First Avenger. Well, my personal theory, the reason why I did it, is because some people will avoid confusion with 1990 film. Yes. That is my personal theory on the matter. And that's it. So he goes to try out, and then he's brought before Dr. Abraham Erskine. Basically, he asks all his soldiers doesn't like bullies. Like he basically just wants to be someone who particularly bullies, stuff like that. So basically, he has him accepted, but he becomes part of the Super Soldier program. So he basically just tries out, and of course, when he meets up with, he sees Captain Car, well, not Sharon, Peggy Carter for the first time. Doesn't immediately fall for her. And oh yeah, and also in the movie before he tries out, he actually gets if I'm a guy who criticizes the newsreel. So he picks up a trash can to become a shield. Of course, also he gets crap beat out of him until Bucky shows up and beats the guy. Yep. And well, then he just tries out, goes to the army drills, no problem. Not much really big problem, but he's able to get through it. Not much problem at all. And eventually he sets up a grenade, and yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, let's have everybody climb with that pole and fly." Like, and the drill sergeant's like, that the flag is gonna stay right up there. And then Steve comes up with the strangest idea. Like he probably comes up with the odd box, and he just take down the pole, take the flag, give it to the drill sergeant. Just the winner gets to ride back with Captain Carter. And of course, Steve is the one who does it, and that's his love interest. Yep. So of course, he also protects him from a grenade, which is actually going to be a fake. And then go try out for the program as well. Of course, they have this wonderful scene between Dr. Erskine and Steve. We have a conversation about his stuff in Germany. It's also revealed that he's responsible for the Red Skull's condition of why his face is like the way he is. In the comics, this was a mask to make it look like this, which was later turned to actually his face. In the movie, it was some early version of the Super Soldier that failed, and that's how the reason Red Skull looks the way he does. So, it's like, can't drink any fluids. So he goes to sleep. And then he just, of course, puts on uniform the next day. They go to Brooklyn of all places. Yes, Brooklyn. And of course, well, General Phillips is there. He's talking to a senator. It's like, yes. It's like, why are we here in Brooklyn? It's like, well, you will provide me the generators I wanted. Well, we need war effort. And this is not war effort. So, and he tells Steve to just take off his shirt and tie. He does. And of course, he's like, man, get that man a sandwich. Okay, because of how thin he is. So, he gets strapped to the gurney. Gets, like, ejection. Now, this is a nod that I get in the comics. It's just ejection. Bam, he's like, whew. He's like, whew, that wasn't so bad. And Eric's like, that was penicillin. And then they put him in the iron lung and have all these tubes of the serum, like all but one. They actually didn't do one. So he goes through it and looks like he's about to fail, but nope. He says, no, let me go through this. This is also the same thing we get used to Howard Stark. Yes, played by Dominic Cooper, who was in this film, and he shows up for Agent Carter. And that's it for this version. Actually, he does show up one other time. He showed up in the short that basically served as a pilot to the Agent Carter series. Yep, her investigating Zodiac. hmm So he comes out, comes super strong. Oh yeah, and his pants he was wearing turns into frickin' shorts because he grew taller. And then he goes after the assassin who... Now here's the thing about this particular assassin. In the comics, this guy just no one Nazi. Yeah, he's just a minor character who, well, appears briefly in the movie for this one scene. Yeah. Now, him basically shooting Ursing, and then he gets to a submarine, and then Cap basically just chases him throughout New York and punches through his shield, and yeah, it turns out this guy was one of the aides. Yeah, in the comics, this guy is just normal Nazi. In the film, they name a Hydra agent. Yes, I have no idea what they did this for, but they did. And of course, it Hail Hydra, and of course, this, the general basically just berates him and was like, "How did he get past security? Really? How did this thing get past like?" Of course, I think Lieutenant is like, "How did this get past our lines? How did they Nazi agent get into your staff?" And that's the last see of that. So, well, he gets like, I was promised an army, so how do you? So I only got you. Also, I forgot to mention, Armzilla is movie, but he's not in his robot form. Yeah, he's played by... What's the actor's name? If I can find him here. His name is... Toby Jones. Yep. Okay, the guy's name is Hans Kruger. hmm Yeah. Yeah. Which, like I said, this guy is being the comics. Like, pretty much like almost everybody shows movie is from the comic books at some point. Yep. So, the senator's like, hey, let's give you a promotion. So that's when he gets his first Captain America costume, what he does, he just basically sings, dances, and a guy dresses up as Africa punches him, which is actually a nod to his first appearance. Excuse me. Where on the cover you have Captain America punching Adolf Hitler in the face, and it's really he did like 200 times. Basically, goes himself on USO tour, goes all over the place, and then basically he finds out what happened to Sergeant Barnes' group, whether they're taking out to go risk. It's like, nah, it's publicity. So basically, of course, he also, yeah, then he convinces Howard Stark and Peggy to drop out behind enemy line just so he can rescue them with just his outfit, and like the helmet he uses is actually one of the girls' helmets. It's actually an A. So he takes his shield with him, and he basically frees like a whole bunch of people. Like it looks like when they show a little group later, it looks like about 300 soldiers he frees. Like wow, and apparently all being experimented on at some point. And of course you see Dum Dum Dugan. Yep, he's in the movie too. See with his bowler hat and his cigar. Yep, we also see U.S. We also have Union Jack who is in the movie, along with Gabe Jones. Basically, they made a version of Howling Commandos that was simply put a combination of, well, the Invaders and the Howling Commandos. But mostly put, yes, simply put what they are. Mm-hmm. Yep, so they free them. And of course, they also have, yeah, we also have it's where Dumb Dugan drives a tank. It's like, well, it's not a Buick. And plus, I love the fact that the actor who plays him actually has his mustache that he's known for having in the comic book. That was so awesome that they actually have put down. It's not like he may not have the whatever outfit he's wearing because he's never kind of outfit in the comics. But the only way Noah's Dugan is his bowler hat, his cigar, and his mustache. Yep. And fun fact about Dumb Dugan from the comics: before he was Agent of Shield and before he was an Agent of Howling Commandos, He was a circus. He was a strong man for the circus. Yes, Gabe Jones, and I'm so happy the fact he's played by a black man. Yes, because there was at one point briefly that I looked up. Apparently, they miscolored him as white for some reason. I have no idea why. So, and of course, he also sees where he's freeing Bucky. He sees like this map briefly, and then he takes them all back. He tells John Phillips like, "I like to turn myself for this man action." He's like, and Phillips like, "Nah, I don't think that's necessary." And of course, he gets like a bunch of praise, and then he gets kissed by the wife of one of the soldiers. Like, here's the thank you from all the wives of the men you rescued. And then Becky's like, just just bitter at him because she got kissed by a woman. Yep. And then eventually he's given his shield, and of course he gets ideas about the outfit. And it's like, "Hey Peggy, what do you think about this shield?" And then she shoots it 3 times. And he's like, and she's like, "Yeah, it works." And then he's like, "Yeah, I have some ideas for the suit." He's like, "Sure, pal, no problem." And then you see his outfit he wears the whole movie, which has a little bit of black in it. Yeah, this is a nod to his Ultimate Comics costume, which it's great the fact they actually did this for World War II. Of course, he wore this outfit to get in the next film, which came out 3 years later. So he goes on, you have a montage of him going on his various missions with the Howling Commandos, which he farms with people he helped free plus Bucky. And they all take out almost every single place, except for like a couple. Then they go and confront Armzol on a freaking train. Yes, a train. They take out his soldiers with ease. Eventually, Bucky is basically flown out of a freaking wall and knocked out, and you don't see him again. Yep. In case what happened to him, it's now explained to Winter Soldier. Yep. He apparently dies. They never really confirm his death here. And, well, they capture Zola really easily because he's weak. He's not exactly. He's a scientist, not a fighter. So then they have this wonderful mental torture scene of like you have General Phillips eating a steak in front of Zola, who says he's a vegetarian. It's like, huh. So he eats the thing, eats it up. It's like, feels like, what good, whatever you like. So can you give us a location of Red Skull's final base? Also, Cap confronts Red Skull twice in the movie. The first time is actually the place where he frees Bucky, and he gets a brief fight with him. And I thought this was so hilarious, where he basically escapes because while the place is blowing up, he's like, he takes Bucky, he's like, where am I gonna sit? And he gives him the keys to the car, and he tells him, "Not a scratch, Doctor, not a scratch." And then he drives the car off. Yep, this wonderful car the Red Skull has, which he's seen later on driving in the movie. By the way, Red Skull is played by Hugo Weaving, one of like 2 known comic-based characters he's known for playing. I believe the other character he played was V for V for Vendetta. I think that was it. Yeah, that was basically it. Though he's also known for playing Agent Smith from the Matrix movies. Yep. And there's a joke about when they talk about Matrix Reloaded, it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go off to V for Vendetta. I'm gonna go off to Captain America First Avenger." Yeah, that was from that one scene where they have Neo fighting 100 Agent Smiths. Not like it is in the next film, but yeah, it's so freaking hilarious. Then, like, he goes angry. He says, "You are failing!" Yep. Eventually he's like, "Oh yeah, it kills, like," and then the last guy is like, "Now last guy." Eventually they confront, like, him at his final base, which Cap just basically just breezes right through Red Skull's troops. And he's taking the custody brought for Red Skull. Like, we hope to gain. Of course, he had mentioned earlier that what Ursa mentioned about me. He mentioned you're insane, and he's like, "Ha!" He just laughs like, "Well, this was a trap." And of course, like, it's basically a distraction. The whole thing of him breaking in there, just a distraction, just so the Howling Commandos basically just plow right through his window, and then they have a big confrontation on his plane. Of course, it's this wonderful image of basically Hydra is basically wearing his gas mask instead of basically wearing the green outfits in the comic books, which, yeah, this was fine. As long as they did the whole thing of the Hell Hydra, they basically held their arms like, "Hell Hydra! Hell Hydra!" And of course, you have the Red Skull just drinking wine. It was just so interesting because it's typical Red Skull. Yep. And then they had the big battle on the plane he has, which is going to be used, one of the things going to be used, bombs to destroy Brooklyn. Yep. and then he touches the cosmic cube fully, and then he sends him off someplace. It's not revealed what happened to him until Avengers Infinity War. Yep, we had to wait. Get this. People had to wait 7 years to resolve this little plot point. What the heck happened to Red Skull? According to public knowledge, he's supposed to be dead. Yep, dead. And then, of course, Cap talks back in the thing on the intercom, like, let's go dancing next Saturday. It's like, okay. And plane crashes, and then and then we see Howard Stark just finding the cosmic cube on the ocean floor, and just let's move on. And then Cap wakes up in a hospital, thinking it's still the 40s, like he's basically, hey, I was there. I was at that game, and then he breaks out and he goes to like a shield facility. This is basically a nod to like him running to a facility and breaking out a window. Yeah, this is actually a nod to his appearance in Ultimates 2, which he does the same exact thing. You know, where he just runs to the building, lets him outside, and yeah, same exact result. And of course, they mention like of how long he's been asleep for, and of course, the colonel he talks to is Nick Fury, which I was post-credit scene as well. Yeah, I love the fact they not only throw some nods from the Captain America comics from like the early 40s stuff and some of his Stan Lee stuff, they also do a nod to Ultimates 1, the first comic book by Mark Millar. Yeah, well, they actually now in the original comic he says he's been asleep 58 years. In the movie, in this movie, he says he's been asleep for about 70 years, and that's when the movie ends. And they have a post-credit scene of Captain America just punching a punching bag, of course, knocking it all out, and of course, Nick Fury comes and says, hey, and of course, you got a mission? He's like, yep, I got a mission for you. And of course, you get a mission about the Cosmic Cube. And then he peeks up, he's like, anything to tell us about the Tesseract? So he says, you should live on the ocean floor. And then we have a trailer for the Avengers. Yep, they have a trailer for the next movie in this film. Though, like with Thor, with the post-credit scene for Iron Man 2, this scene is basically shown in the actual Avengers film as one of the clips of the film. Yep. Excuse me. No, not the only time they would do this, but it's second up a few times due to the course of the series, where a post-credit scene is actually a teaser for a scene from the next film. Yep. This film itself is really good, and out of the 4 solo films, well, yeah, out of all the solo films so far, this is one of my personal favorites. And a bit of an underrated movie because people love the sequels, which is Soldier in Civil War, but none of people talk about this film. And the thing about the Captain America films, it's one of those rare things where for a trilogy of movies, all the films are good. Yes, I love the period piece stuff. I think it worked great for this particular film. I think it was a really good idea for the next film set in modern day because I couldn't exactly go back to period piece stuff for the second film because, well, they had this something new. Present day stuff. Yep. Overall, really good movie. Okay, so that's it for this particular review. I have no other videos planned for today. Yeah, I was thinking of doing one more movie review, but I figured though, why not just save it for tomorrow? I will also review the newest episode, newest chapter of the 7 Deadly Sins. Yep. In case you haven't seen Captain America First Avenger, I highly recommend go see it. It's really good. It's a great watch. And fun fact about the actor who plays Tim Dugan, he actually played him like a couple other times after this. He popped up in that short of Agent Carter, and plus he showed up on an episode of the Agent Carter TV show. Now he's played by an actor by the name of Neil McDowell. I think that's pronounced the guy's name. Yes. And this is one of 2 comic-based characters he's ever played. This one's a little more well known than the other character he played on Arrow named Damien Dark. Yep. Though in that show, he actually doesn't have the mustache. He's actually clean shaven. He's a blonde. I believe Dugan in this film is a brunette. Yeah, I think he's got brown. I think he's a blonde normally. This is one of a few films I've seen him in. Yes, aside from Timeline, First Contact. Yeah, Searching for Contact. Yeah, he was also in Band of Brothers. Really good film. Actually, it's a miniseries. Let's see. He was also in Walking Tall. And yes, I do know about him. In case you ask, like, what about Batman Talking Home? Yes, I've seen that. And Daisy Shook as Green Arrow. Oh yeah, he was also in Minority Report. Yep, Minority Report. And fun fact about First Contact. Second film he was ever in. Yeah, first film, a film I have seen. I forgot he was in the film. I didn't realize he was in this film at all. Angels in the Outfield. Yes, I have seen this. I watched him several times when I was a kid, and it's great though. The fact he was actually in the film. I know. I'm sure he like says he was in it with Whit Bass. I'm not all that familiar with the character he played in the movie, but I do know who Lieutenant Hawk is. Yeah, the character who was revealed to be the first Star Trek's first openly gay character. Yep. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my reviews of the Seven Deadly Sins, chapter manga, new episode of the anime, along with my review of the next MCU film, The Avengers. Yep, choose next view. Bye.